and we know that Lori made a lot of promises on the campaign trail. He has a pretty tall order. What changes do you think he will be actually able to make?
And now we want to get to an ABC News special report about the fires in Southern California.
President Biden is about to receive a briefing on the unprecedented wildfire emergency in Southern California. The president is at the Santa Monica Fire Station today after speaking with Governor Gavin Newsom. The governor's also there by his side. And the images coming in from the region are just staggering. At least 4 major fires are now burning through Los Angeles County, with at least 2 people reported dead and many more injured. More than 70,000 people have been forced to evacuate, and more than 1,000 homes and structures have been lost in the Palisades fire alone. Winds gusting up to 100 miles per hour are not only fueling those fires, but also making them virtually impossible to fight in some areas. Emergency service there are being stretched to the absolute limit. The LAPD fire chief has talked about how difficult this challenge is. Let's listen in now to that briefing.
This is not something that's a surprise to us in Southern California, and it was something that we were well prepared for. Based on those predictive conditions of wind gusts up to 100 miles an hour east, pushing offshore, we began increasing our staffing, local, state, and federal agencies. Hundreds of firefighters began moving on Sunday afternoon from Northern California into Southern California. My local partners began upstaffing their own fire stations, helicopters, fire engines, hand crews, to be prepared for an incident like this that occurred. Those resources were pre-positioned in counties throughout Southern California for an event just like this. And on Tuesday morning, the Palisades fire began. I'd now like to introduce you to Chief Crowley, who can touch on the Palisades fire. Chief.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I'm here just to provide you a brief on 3 significant fires that have occurred within the city of Los Angeles. With that, I'm going to be focusing on the Palisades fire. That fire broke out yesterday morning around 10:30. We did pre-deploy a number of resources. We knew there was a potential for a significant threat to our constituents due to the weather event. High winds. I've never seen the winds in my 25-year career. So we leaned forward as much as possible and pre-deployed. With that, we had a significant amount of fire that occurred. We had an aggressive fire attack. The fire has grown from originally 10 acres to 10,802 acres as we speak. It's an active firefight with our firefighters, and they're doing their very best to protect our people within this area. Interesting enough, because of the winds and the low humidity, we had a second fire also break out, and that was the Hearst fire, which is just north of that area. Again, this was close to 11,000 acres. This is close to 500 acres that also broke out. The information that I want to share with you is also the significance of multiple fires in the area within the city, but also the county. That's the second fire that actually came out, and we're actively engaged in that firefight. The third fire then broke out this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, in which we have an active firefight there as well. We're working with our local jurisdictions, our state, regional, as well as federal. So we're doing everything we can to protect life first and property next. We'll go ahead and then pass this off to Police Chief McDonald. Thank you.
Chief. Mr. President, it's an honor to be able to be here and be part of this and represent the men and women of LAPD and policing to support our partners in the fire service. What we saw here in the last 24 hours is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this. Fires driven by the type of winds that we saw up to 100 miles an hour. Our role out there is strictly support, to be there for evacuations, to get people out of the affected area, to be able to provide for traffic control and then crime suppression as the fire is fought. And some may come in and try and take the opportunity to go into these homes and steal from them. So we're going to be on top of that. I just want to say the relationship we enjoy here, in my case under the leadership of Mayor Bass, but all of our elected officials, is unlike, I think, anywhere else in the country. We are blessed to have the relationship between police and fire that we do here. Unfortunately, we do this kind of thing frequently, never to this level, but I can't say enough about how important that is. And as we went to the next 5 years with the Super Bowl and the World Cup and the Olympics coming up, it's critical that we maintain those partnerships. So thank you for this opportunity, sir. Oh, sorry. Let me introduce my partner from the County Fire Department, Chief Tony Malone. So thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to be giving you an update on our Eaton fire, which is east. The county starts all the way up in Lancaster and goes all the way down to the Long Beach border. We go from the county line in Ventura all the way out to Pomona, 4,300 acres. So we have a fire east of the Palisades fire that began last night. It's called the Eaton Fire. It's currently 10,600 acres, 0% containment. We have over 750 firefighters on the line. Unfortunately, 2 people have lost their lives. Residents have lost their lives at the Eaton Fire. It's impacting tens of thousands of homes, not only in the city of Pasadena, but also the county area of Altadena. And we're doing our very best. We just had our out-of-state resources arrive from Arizona at the Eaton Fire to assist us. Last night, as the Region 1 coordinator, I contacted the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. We requested 250 additional engines into LA County with 1,000 personnel. We also are using our compacts with other states like Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. Firefighters from those regions are on their way down to Los Angeles County right now to assist us. So thank you for your interest. Thank you for your attention.
The governor asked for a declaration provides for everything from the governor's solution. We're signing today. Folks, the fact is that I expect the DOD, Department of Defense, to rapidly provide additional firefighting personnel and capabilities. Also, California National Guard is adding 2 modular air firefighting systems units, and 2 more are being ready for the National Guard, the Nevada National Guard. And 4 more are coming from the Northern Command, and 10 Navy helicopters, water delivery buckets, are coming down from San Diego. We're prepared to do anything and everything as long as it takes to contain these fires and help reconstruct, make sure that we get back to normal. It's going to be a hell of a long way. It's going to take time. So we need the federal government's here to stay as long as it needs everything we need. Many of you actually haven't gotten that.
Quite the contrary. Mr. President, just first of all, that major disaster declaration we approved. Next level of appreciation on behalf of all the residents here in Southern California. As the chief said, we had pre-positioned assets this weekend in anticipation of these weather events. The complexity of multiple fires, the likelihood these weather events, this wind event will continue over the course of the next many days. Impacts of over 1,000 structures already that have been destroyed, 100,000+ people that have been evacuated, lives lost. Traditions, lifestyles, places torn asunder. This means the world to us, and just publicly, because I think this is important. The president happened to be in the region, in town. It's impossible for me to express the level of appreciation and cooperation we receive from the White House and this administration. So on behalf of all of us, Mr. President, thank you for being here, but not just being here today. Thank you for being here since the minute of this incident. There was a 10-acre fire less than 24 or so hours ago, deep ground.
It's astounding what's happening. All I want is good news. My son lives out there anyway. They got a notification yesterday that their home was probably burned around. Today, it appears that maybe still standing, I'm not sure. But the good news is, I'm a great-grandfather as of today. My granddaughter. Baby girl, baby boy. So I remember this day for a lot of long reasons. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Looking at President Biden there at the Santa Monica Fire Station, having just been briefed on the unprecedented fire emergency in Southern California. The president's calling it astounding, and we just heard from some of the chief officials there dealing with that, including the county fire chief, talking through the latest developments with the Eaton fire, now consuming more than 10,000 acres, and that is just one of 4 major fires now burning in the area. At least 2 people are dead, many more injured. I want to bring in our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, who's in Southern California near the Palisades fire. Matt, walk me through what you're seeing and why this wildfire is so unique, even for this area.
I mean, we're talking about one of the most densely populated parts of the country, LA County, one of the most ferocious extreme windstorms that we've seen in over a decade, and it is bone dry out. Diane, you know, this is a major disaster, as we have been seeing. The reason we're down here on the Pacific Coast Highway is because you cannot get any signal up on this road. But we had to drive through what was basically a tunnel of fire to get here. This is still very much an ongoing situation. Firefighters, where they can, are still trying to put out flames in high-rise buildings, in stores, in homes. But we have seen with our own eyes many hundreds of homes. And you can see, looks like this apartment block behind me, that's about to catch fire, is catching fire. That smoke cantilevered over this. This is still very much ongoing and will likely be through tomorrow when the wind begins to subside. But I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. So densely packed is the destruction in the Pacific Palisades. Stores, supermarkets, the high school, and many, many hundreds of homes, Diane.
We heard the city fire chief say in her 25-year career she's never seen winds like this. The LAPD chief calling it unprecedented. Matt, talk about the challenge of having to fight 4 major fires, and they have many more going on too, but these 4 major fires all at the same time.
That's right. Earlier today in that press conference, fire chiefs were saying, hey, we are strapped. We are tapped out. We have no more resources. And that's why, Diane, we were driving through very large neighborhoods, having spent hours there, and we didn't see a single firefighter. They are just too stretched thin over a very large area in LA County. That's why they're surging reinforcements here, personnel and equipment, but it hasn't come quickly enough. And a fire chief told me this morning there's nothing that can be done to combat wind that is this fierce because it just turbocharges all those fires. And we've seen it. One little ember gets into the eaves of a house, and within 30 minutes, that thing has burned to the ground. And this is the kind of fire behavior that I haven't seen in 10 years of covering fires pretty regularly. And fire chiefs and people who have been experts in this for 25 years say is incredibly unusual and particularly dangerous, Diane.
And Matt, the president just said he has signed a disaster declaration. The governor thanked him for that. How much do you think that's going to help, and what is this area going to need most now?
I think it's going to help in terms of funding and resources, because what we saw there is the decimation of a town. This was one of the wealthiest enclaves in America, with some of the nicest stores, some of the most palatial homes, and the infrastructure is destroyed. The downtown business area is destroyed. Schools are destroyed. Places of worship are destroyed. They are going to need a Herculean federal effort to assist in the state and local effort to try to get this town back on its feet, if that even can ever happen. I mean, we drove to places, neighborhoods that I've known for years because my family lives here. I couldn't recognize the place. The place has completely changed because of this fire, ripping through so many countless of hundreds of houses and businesses. It is going to take a very long time and a lot of resources to rebuild this community, Diane.
It sure is. Our Matt Gutman there from near the Palisades fire. Matt, stay safe, and we are looking there at an image from our KABC chopper. You can see, again, 4 major wildfires burning in Los Angeles County, dozens more smaller fires burning there. Emergency services are really stretched at their limit. So far, more than 10,000 acres contained, 2 people dead, many more injuries. We will continue to stay on top of this story on ABC News Live, on abcnews.com, and David Muir will anchor a special edition of World News Tonight from there in Los Angeles. I'm Diane Macedo in New York. Right now, we'll return you to your regular programming.
All right. Thank you so much.
This has been a special report.
And we've
from
been watching that
ABC
ABC News special report right there on the really devastating situation there in Southern California. We heard updates from California Governor Gavin Newsom and, of course, President Joe Biden. The president actually stuck there in Southern California. He traveled there earlier this week to dedicate a new national monument, and he was supposed to head to other parts of Northern California, but he's been stuck there in Southern California as a result of these devastating wildfires. We know 2 people dead, more than 15,000 acres burned in 4 separate fires, really plaguing Los Angeles County.
Yeah, and we know that fire officials were giving President Biden an update on those 4 major fires in Los Angeles County. And he did mention, he was told by officials how there are crews that are going there from all over different areas. And he mentioned Northern California fire crews that have been going out there since yesterday to try to help out with this. And Biden pledging his support for fighting these wildfires. Just devastating. As you said, 2 people have died, and they say at least 1,000 businesses and homes have been damaged.
Yeah, the president pledging to do any and everything as long as it takes. Of course, we'll have much more coverage on those wildfires throughout the day here on ABC 7 News. We'll take a short break here on Midday Live. We're back in a moment.